Okay, so your last day of this week's packet is continuing to write the story. So yesterday and the day before, you should have just come up with questions and then interviewed your person again and gotten some answers to write about. So today's, you're going to read a book, choose a way to write about it. And then you're going to read your interview notes from yesterday on a new sheet of paper. Transform these notes into the second part of your narrative story. So if you're doing first person, this is kind of a good sentence frame to start your second part of the story with. After my early childhood, things changed. I learned a valuable lesson. Obviously, if you're writing in third person, you'd say he or she, depending on who you're writing about, learned a lesson. So my example here. Okay, so I use that sentence frame to go from my early childhood to this. And the questions I chose to ask were about parenting, because that was, some of the things on that website that I mentioned in our last video that would be really good to use about raising children or parenting, because that's really like the midlife, So what my mom had talked about was meeting my biological dad, how they met, and then, what happened with them, and then I was born. And so in my story, I'm pretending to be my mom, so I'm doing first person, okay? And then I just kind of, wrote about the things, what life looked like once she had me. So, it looks like I did most of a page. I did about 4 paragraphs here. So you'd want yours to be similar. And by all means, if you had a lot of good information, go more than that, go wherever your story takes you. Add some more. Really use this time to, get to know the person that you were interviewing. It's very interesting to kind of put yourself in their shoes and write a story from their perspective. So that's it for your day. I have 14 on there, but this is day 15. And then next week will look very different, regardless of what English teacher you have. We are giving an option for next week to not do the days 16 through 20 parts of the packet. So you will have an option to just come to Zoom sessions and participate in the Zooms and get your credit for that day instead of continuing the interview. And the reason for this is that we feel like you guys have already done an interview for oral comm first quarter, and so we feel like you've done enough interviewing. Spending a whole other week on interviewing is not really going to be it's not really necessary. But you have the choice. You can continue following the packet, or you can come to the Zoom sessions and do the Zoom activities and get your credit for next week that way instead of turning in packets. So that is up to you. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and hope to see you Monday.